Scavenger's ready.
Very nice.
And Pierpont is ready. So in 10 seconds plus stream delay, we'll be going here. I guess let me know when these guys leave the palace.
I'll tell you when they get into the medicine cave. Into
All
the
right.
magic jar cave, rather. Alright. Got them synced up, and they're going in right now. So hi everybody, welcome to the Zelda 2 race. We got Skavenger216 versus PierpontLempkin, number 12 seed versus number 22 seed. But very similar PBs. Pierpont's PB is improved by a lot since he started playing. We see Scav is just going straight in trying to get the manipulation, whereas Pierpont did an audio cue. I think he may have borrowed that one from me, waiting against the wall there until the audio hits a certain spot and then hitting the A button. What they're trying to do there in the cave, and neither one managed to get it, but what they're trying to do is secure a 50 bag drop. So there is every 6 small enemy that you kill, you get a drop which has a 1 in 8 chance of being a 50 bag. So that is based on a global timer that begins when you gain control of Link at the beginning of the game. So these players are trying to do, very first thing they do is move into that cave and kill those 6 enemies in a very specific pattern with very specific timing to kill the last enemy on just the right frame to get that 50 bag drop. And people try to choose points in the RNG where there's a lot of nearby frames that are also pretty good because it's not evenly distributed. But it's about a 1 in 8 chance if you don't do any kind of manipulation. And so we saw both of them gave it a try but didn't manage to get it. So the backup was they went up to the trophy cave there. The trophy cave would normally be saved for after Palace 1, but these guys are doing it first because you can get 40 experience from doing that and accomplish one of your missions in the process.
That's right. There's a couple of other options players have. They can grab the 50 bag in the forest, which is a completely optional area. So you're not, you're not making up any ground doing the trophy cave. So it's generally not the greatest option. You don't see a lot of players go for that. We have seen though a fair number of players just go for it.
Just skip getting the 50 entirely. That's risky, but let's explain the consequences of not getting the 50 bag. You have to get a certain amount of experience by the end of Palace 1 in order to be able to get a big bonus out of the crystal that you place in the end. And if you get that, if you manage to get enough experience, you can get a bonus from the Palace crystal that takes you all the way up to attack 4. And that is going to make it much easier to do Death Mountain, much easier to do Palace 2, and it's going to greatly improve your chances of hitting all your experience targets for the rest of the game. And the problem is, either way, regardless of how you do this, there's some amount of RNG involved. To get enough experience, you would need to either get 2 200 bag drops in Palace 1, and each one of them is a 50-50 chance, so that's about a 25% chance of getting both of them. Scavenger missing the bubble skip, and Pierpont also missing the bubble skip, so these guys are still very close. But the point of that 50 bag that they were going for is if you get that 50 bag, then there's enough experience that you only need 1 of the 200 bag drops, so that's a 75% chance. And we've seen a bunch of people just say, forget it, I'm going to go for 200 bags only, and if I don't get it, I'll just stick with attack 3 and make up the experience elsewhere. And we've actually seen a few people win races despite having only attack 3 coming out of Palace 1.
Yeah, Zelda 2 is kind of a volatile speedrun. It can go really wrong in a lot of ways. So even something as bad as a whole attack level can be made up.
Yep, you are going to be relying on a little bit of luck, but it can be done. And we see Scavenger already into the palace. Pierpont had an extra encounter. And now Pierpont's in the palace. Certainly plenty of time for these two to catch up. Even within this palace, we could see these guys even right up again.
Yeah, there's a couple of troublesome enemies like these bots that Pierpont had to stop and deal with. And I guess Doom Rattlers are pretty good at zoning you out for a bit.
Yep. If Pierpont has to go, or rather if Scavenger has to go and get that fairy and Pierpont doesn't, then that would even them up as well. Or pretty close to. But only about just over one room difference between them.
And of course the P bags could determine a really big swing.
Yeah, just thinking that the horsehead fight, if one player gets to attack 3 by the time he's fighting horsehead and the other one is still at attack 2, horsehead might take another 3 hits, which is a whole extra cycle of pushing him off the screen and waiting for him to come back on again. Or having to lure him very far to the left in order to do 7 hits instead of 4 before pushing him off the screen. And I think we saw both players skipping the Staphoses. Pierpont jumping over one of them right there. A Staphos is what they call a skeleton in this game. The ones with a shield and a helmet are called Staff Knights. Or Staphos Knights. Ooh. Kills that Doom Knocker. I don't think he's going to hit that hammer. He was really close to it. Level up prompts, of course, they're going to come up when they choose to. It's not something you have much control over.
Both these guys knocking that Doom Rattler up onto that ledge a little slower, just a tiny bit slower.
Yep, and you see some people not hesitating there and going ahead of that last club, the very last club that he throws. You'll squeeze in between that one and the one next to it to save a little bit of time. Ooh, Scavenger getting the jump over the bot and the skull bubble. He must have set up. I didn't see where he struck the wall, but he must have struck the wall somewhere to set that up. But he has... Oh wait, what is he doing here? He could have done the manipulation in this room to get a better pattern out of these skull bubbles. He manages to make it through okay. If you come in there with Beam Sword, then you want to do the pattern that Scavenger had. If you come in here without, you want to strike the wall coming down the elevator on the way in, and that gets you some slightly better patterns. So you'll notice Pierpont's skulls are not in quite the same place as Scavenger's were, so it's a little less delay.
He also had Beam Sword, but lost it just before heading into that section. Beam Sword makes that much easier.
Yeah. Beam Sword, you can stun lock those things without slowing down at all. It's a very minor difference, though. It's just a fine point, because there's not much else to talk about in this part of the dungeon. The real exciting stuff happens later, I think.
Yep, soon we're going to start seeing some of these big 6-drops.
Yeah, that's when we really gotta find out how these players are doing on experience and look at the numbers.
Scavenger just tagging that bot. Make sure they stay put and behave. They're very random, unpredictable enemies, so they're speedrunner's bane, basically.
Okay, we got our first drop. Let's see what happens. Scav gets a red jar. But he did go to do early trophy cave, as did Pierpont, so both of these guys only need to get one of the 200 bag drops. So Scav's got another 50-50 shot at it, and here's Pierpont's first try.
Gets it.
He gets it, so there we go. 200. And he's got all the experience he needs, because he'll kill this skeleton, and his experience will be above 390 going down this elevator, which is what he wants. And now Scav is approaching his last chance from this orange IK right here. It's a jar.
Ouch.
That hurts, so he is going to have to fight Horsehead at attack 2, so he will take an extra 3 hits. And you'll see, once more, he's got to lure him out from the wall, and that's what's going to waste some time. Actually, twice he's got to lure him away. Pierpont's...
So his lead here is fading away. Pierpont gets another
He gets another
bag.
one. At that point, he could have chosen to take life 2.
think he wasn't really thinking about it.
Yeah, he didn't need it. He didn't even need to turn around to grab whatever it was, but it's just a matter of habit, I guess. And Pierpont doing a fairly standard horse head fight, doing it very well. Nice quick kill for that method. It's about as well as it can go. He is a little bit behind Scavenger. I'm going to say about 20 seconds.
Seems about right.
Maybe a little more, 25 seconds.
Scavenger leaving that 50 bag.
Doesn't, well, he does need it. It would help him to get that 50 bag, but we'll see. So what Scavenger has to do now is he needs to earn enough experience for attack 4, and then enough for attack 5, and then some amount more, which will depend on what magic and life levels he takes.
Yeah, it raises the amount you need to get while also decreasing the amount of experience you have because you have to spend it to level up. So you have to be doubly careful when you take magic and life level ups in an attack 3 situation. But Scavenger's a good player. He's experienced. I'm sure he's prepared for this situation. So,
yep, Scavenger's been running this game for quite a while. He told me that Zelda 2 and Blaster Master were his two favorite games, and the things that he wanted to speedrun when he started speedrunning. Was his goal, to get good at Zelda 2 and Blaster Master. He certainly
got
managed
pretty damn good at Blaster Master.
Yeah, he sure managed to get good at Blaster Master. And in Zelda 2, he's had a 121-26 since that was like a number 6 time or something like that. Before the 100% all keys craze took over, Scavenger was running it back then, and he's an old hand at this, so he knows what he's doing. And he is the first one out of this town.
Yeah, you're going to see his lead most likely start to bleed away bit by bit until he finally catches up on attack levels.
Yeah, that's right. Going through here with attack 3 means more hits for everything that he fights. That's right there going to slow him down. Plus, a few of the enemies are positioned in really difficult spots, and you need to lure them out a little bit before you fight them. So that's even more time loss. So in general, yeah, having a lower attack level, even though he's ahead, we are going to see him lose some time here to Pierpont.
Gets through the bats cleanly, though. That could be annoying when you don't have Beam Sword.
Yeah.
So here's a manipulation coming out of Jump Cave here. Does not go well for Scavenger, immediately running into an encounter.
Ouch. And that means he's probably going to get at least one more, because once you're in the swamp, you're a sitting duck. Now Pierpont really has a shot of catching right back up with Scav before they've even got 10% of the way through the game.
Scavenger hesitates a little bit on that level up, decides to take life 2. Spanking on getting a P-Bag in Death Mountain, I suppose.
And he gets some fortunate back spawns there approaching Bagoo. Pierpont's taken an encounter on the path in just the right spot to be able to... Oh, you're missing it. There you go. Just the right spot to be able to reach Bagoo without another encounter. So that's good for him. And now we're much closer than before.
Oh, this bridge is probably why Scav took that life level up. He's got the Beam Sword now for all these fish.
Yep, and it means he doesn't need to refill anything when he's in the town there. Because you probably want the Beam Sword coming into Death Mountain for those bots at the beginning, for the moblins, a few other things. But yeah,
Pierpont
really
actually
close.
casting shield there on the bridge.
That's an interesting choice. I guess you have it. You may as well, and he's gonna...
Use it if you got it.
Maybe he will get his magic refilled in here. But you'll see these guys going to pick up the mirror right now. That's the trigger item that lets you into this house that you see Scav entering on the left, where you get the life spell. Life spell is one of the reasons that this category, or the 100% categories in general, are pretty good categories for new players, in that you're not penalized for picking up the life spell, which normally is an optional spell. You can skip it in any of the other categories. But it's immensely helpful.
Another good... Another sort of newbie-friendly item is the candle that you pick up in the first palace that lets you see in dark caves. Because it's not strictly necessary to get through those caves, most other categories skip it, and that means you need to learn how to do many, many, many caves in the dark, mostly blind, very, very hard to learn, basically. And it makes the 100% all keys category the way to go if you want to jump in and start learning Zelda 2.
Yep, and the nice thing is you're also required to get all the heart containers, so you're going to be going in with full life to the final palace, which is really nice. Just generally makes this category a lot more friendly to people who are just starting out, and it's a good jumping off point for all the other categories because you learn every room, every boss, every palace, everything. You don't skip any of the stuff, so any other category you do is going to be a subset of this. Alright, Death Mountain.
So you want to keep an eye on Beam Sword. It's going to help a lot through all of these early rooms here in Death Mountain, especially for Scav, who is working with Attack 3 here. And watch how Pierpont makes up time in each room, bit by bit. Getting a hit by the Octorok there. So he's lost the Beam Sword before the key room with these bats they have random basically which way they go when they come down from the ceiling. It's pretty annoying.
Yep, and Scav can't afford to take any more level ups. He's probably going to stay at Magic 1 Life 2 through the rest of Death Mountain unless he starts getting some 200 bags. If he gets one 200 bag, you might see him start to take a level up. If he gets 2, you'll definitely see it, but he may be on 3-1-2 and then 4-1-2 for a while. Scav doing double hits on that orange Dyra.
He actually dealt with that Dyra faster than Pierpont did.
He sure did. Some well-placed double hits, even though he had to hit it more times, he still managed to do it faster. His life total would worry me if I were him. He's casting life. He just barely made it. In this game, if you get hit and then cast life before it kills you, the game does not save you. You will still die. Even as your life is refilling, it still counts you as dead. So that thing that hit him must have taken him to very nearly 0. Enough that it looked like he was completely on empty. Meanwhile, Pierpont enjoying another level up, so he's now at Magic 2 Life 3. Both bars filled.
You must be feeling much better. Scav working so hard to keep up with Attack 3 here. These double hits he's doing are not easy. I think this is kind of a sign of a player who's sort of really put time in it, because you have to put in a lot of time to learn how to do that consistently, and it only saves a fraction of a second each time you make use of it. So when you're just learning the game, it doesn't really make sense to put a whole bunch of time into learning it. There's so many other things you could learn to save so much more time. So I think when a player has put the time in to learn these double hits, it's a sign that they're really starting to look for the small optimizations in their play.